Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I'm Bobby, also known as Blazing Bob, and no Mel today. She's busy and we're doing it during the day, so she's not going to be able to make it. But we do have Hammer Dance. Welcome to the show.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. And we're supposed to be joined by San Medina later on in the show. He's going to jump in. I'd like to start the show off by thanking our tank patrons in Croxford, Turtle Whale, and Braxton. Mentioned we stream the show live on Twitch, twitch.tv/BlazinBob. That's BLAZZINBOB. This is... Is there anything else I need to remind people? Oh, yeah. If you're going to use a Resident XP guide for Kata or a Season of Discovery or even Classic Era, Hardcore, or anything, please use our code down below in the description. It helps us out a lot. Yeah, I think that was the last little piece of housekeeping. All right, so this is going to be a weird show, guys. It's going to be a little bit different than normal. Me and Mel just got back in town, went to a wedding in Nebraska. We leave town tomorrow again to go down to Texas. Then we're back home for a week, and then we leave for a week to go on our 4th of July trip. So we're all over the place. So I had to get a show in, but I don't have a lot of time, and so that's why we're doing the show right now, and that's why we're doing it with less people, because we just can't have a super long show today. But we would normally, we're going to start with the comment of the week. Then we would go to voicemails, but nobody left any voicemails. So please leave us some for next week. It's 816-866-1066 or speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. Then we're going to go on to Discord questions. We had a couple of them. Then we're just going to hit the news. It's going to be pretty much all SoD, guys. So if you're coming for like Kata, you might get a little bit of like what we've been doing, but it's probably going to be mostly SoD. So if that's not your game, then you might want to duck out now. And please come back next week. There might be Kata talk. All right. With that being said, let's do the comment of the week. This is from Bad Wolf XD 3593. Says, man, I can't wait to hear him complain about fan of knives and SoD. The man knows me. Our lady could be, I guess. Yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer for me. It's interesting because it might turn out that the other Cape rune is actually better, and that was what I asked for, a AoE rune that uses combo points rather than just a move that that you just spam. But I can still hold out hope for like a 3 to 4 second cooldown on Fan of Knives, so that you can weave other things in there, and just spamming one button would actually give you less DPS, which would be good. But, lazy people could just spam one, button, because it'd be on a 4-second cooldown, So, yeah. But it'd be something that you could kind of min-max a little cooler than, just fan. And I know you do min-max at the beginning by getting up Slice and Dice. You want that up regardless of if you're fanning of knives. But that's not enough for me, so... Yeah,
that's people are going to get Fell Striker too, and Fan of Knives is going to be it's going to be busted. Sorry to tell you, but it's going to be really busted. I honestly think Rogues might be top AoE DPS this phase with that.
Well, did you see the other tech that I don't know if they're gonna fix?
What's that?
So there's a there's a talent for rogues, relentless strikes, right? And when you do a finishing move, it has a 20% chance per bubble to reward you 25 energy. Like after you do the move. So if you have a 5 bubble eviscerate, you're for sure going to get 25 energy back. Now, if you have a 5 bubble of the new bleed that hits
Crimson Tempest, yeah,
all
AoE.
the targets, it refunds 100% energy. Bada bing, bada boom. Mutilate, you're back to 4 or 5 bubbles. Do the bleed again. Mutilate. That, like, Simonize found that quick. So I don't know. It's the first finishing move that hits more than one target. So
right.
I don't know. It might have functioned like this when you had, if you had Blade Fury up and you did like an eviscerate or something, you know, and then like it might have worked on 2 targets prior and it's just some sort of tech that we didn't know. But it'd be interesting to see if that was just a whoops, it kind of snuck in, or if they're going to actually change how that talent works, because that's pretty crazy good.
That is, yeah. Does that AoE bleed do damage on the initial hit as well, or is it just applying the bleed? Because I feel like that would be a big. Let's pull it up here.
Yeah,
what's it called? It's Crimson Tempest, right?
Yep. I'm going right here.
Finishing move that slashes all enemies within 8 yards, causing victims to bleed over time, lasts longer, and deals more damage per combo point. So
yeah, no, it's just
doesn't look like it does initial damage. So yeah, I guess I don't know. We'd have to wait and see which one performs better. But
and I don't know.
Fan of Knives is gonna be bursty.
Yeah, and I don't know if this damage that we see right here, if this scales. Like if it scales with like attack power or anything else. If it's just these type of damages, I don't know that it's going to be all that great. Like 600 damage over 12 seconds is nothing to write home to mom about.
Right.
But you can proc poisons on all of them too. Like it hits them all. But Fan of Knives, if you could just spam that, you're procking poisons constantly, you know? So I don't know. We'll just have to see. And then Blunderbuss, I guess, is going to award combo point for each enemy it hits, so you could get up to 4 combo points.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
They did say that's going to be on a cooldown.
Okay.
So we'll just have to see what kind of, like, that looks like a great initial pull for tanks, that Blunderbuss, but Fan of Knives is probably still the way to go for tanks. So, although I don't know, maybe the bleed.
Yep. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see.
Yep. But thank you for your comment. Let's move on to the Discord questions here. All right. I'm going to try to read this. Blizzard, please, for the love of God, make SoD Phase 4's world buffs less terrible than they were in 2019. Ani, Rend, Songflower, Dark Moonfair, Blasted Lands, Yojibama, Dire Maul. That's already way too many, not to mention the several that I probably forgot, but the Sweaties won't. It's just way too much, and absolutely nobody enjoys gathering them. Either eliminate world buffs from raids, or make every single world buff available at a capital city vendor in exchange for a token we can earn from one of the level 50 plus dungeon bosses. At surface level, this would encourage dungeon runs and lower the power of world buffs. But what do you think? That's a good question. We've kind of talked about how this is going to get real hairy, and then people are going to be kind of like guilted into getting them. It might even be stopping people from wanting to come back to SoD, for being honest.
Yeah. I mean, I have actually one friend who is currently playing for the first time now in Phase 3. He wants to play Phase 4, and he is someone who absolutely despises getting world buffs. You know what? But it's really weird for me. I enjoy getting world buffs. I may be crazy. Maybe I'm a masochist here a little bit, but I like it. I like the camaraderie of it. I like that it gets people out moving around the world. And I do understand, though, that at this phase, it does become a lot, especially with Dire Maul. Like that, I think, is the one that's the worst for people.
Yeah. Yeah, Dire Maul is rough, and I think those are all. I think those are all magic buffs. Which like Songflower's a magic buff. Like the other buffs can't get dispelled right now. All the other buffs we get except for Songflower. So that's the one you have to be real careful about. And I think the Dire Maul ones, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those are magic also and can be dispelled. And those ones are, those are a pain. They become easier when people make a business of it, you know, and sell you the buffs, but it's still a lot to go through.
Yeah.
All the hunters
they can be dispelled. Yeah,
and all the hunters clear it in different ways. So like in this one, these mobs aggro, but in this one, they don't. It's so weird.
Yeah. It is rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I like this Smooth's idea of some kind of token you earn from like one of the end game dungeon bosses like that. I never thought about that before. That's a pretty good idea.
I do like it. See, back in 2019 Classic, it wasn't very long before the Chinese servers were just given vendors that just did it, or they did it like at the top of the hour, all of them, every hour. You just had to be in one of the major cities. But
really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I think it'd be cool to be able to do this in addition. I think you still should be able to get the buffs like before, you know, and I think that it'd be kind of cool to be able to use currency that you get in some way. I mean, even, you know, maybe, I don't know, like I was trying to think of multiple ways. Like you could even like make it so a certain amount of PvP badges buys you one of these tokens that gives you a world buff, a certain amount of dungeon stuff. So you're not forced into one activity to earn these. Like say a PvPer loves the PvP. He gets all of his buffs for that week by doing PvP, and somebody else loves dungeons. They get all of their buffs by doing dungeons. Be kind of cool.
Yeah, some form of end game activity to encourage people to do it, to earn the buffs in the way that they want. I honestly think that'd be a great change. Yeah,
and it doesn't pigeonhole you, you know, into just one way of doing it. Because I think that's, I always thought, you know, in Wrath when they were doing the catch up stuff, I always thought it would be neat. I wanted to get into PvP, but like I didn't have time. I needed to do all this other stuff. I needed to do all these dungeons to catch up on the gear I didn't get. What if I could have done PvP instead and gotten currency to do the same grind? Like that would have been neat. So I don't know. I like the idea. I wonder what everybody else thinks. Let us know in comments, tweets, whatever. It sounds like a good idea to me. I mean, yeah, it's still active. You're still actively going to get them in some form or another. So,
but I think like what you said, it's important to keep the old way in as well.
Yes, definitely
want to get them that way. But all in all, a pretty good idea.
Yeah, because I'd probably, you know, on weeks that I had a lot of time, I'd probably just get them all myself, save currency for those weeks where I'm going to be out of town. I'm only be in town for raid night, you know, like that type of stuff. Would be nice to have a stock saved up to be able to just know, you know. But then some weeks maybe I'd get half, you know. It just kind of depends. It'd be nice to have that sort of flexibility because people might not say it, but people get kind of upset with you when you don't come with all your buffs.
Yes, they do.
Even in, you know, it's something I never thought I would do the buffs back in 2019, and then by the end of it, I had every buff before every raid, and was
same. I mean, to me, playing warrior, it just not having the buffs felt so bad. It was like half of my damage was having world buffs always, right? So I think even here, as we're gonna get into a little bit later, I'm gonna really be wanting these world buffs. So
all right, so the next question is, do you think P4 will introduce the last of the new runes? Did they say that this was the last of the runes? I don't know if they did.
No, they didn't like confirm it. And we still have a couple of other slots, right? Like we have shoulder slot, neck slot. So maybe they'll come in like other content phases within this phase, I would imagine, if they are going to be adding more runes.
I think it'd be in the next phase. The one marked level 60
New
content.
endgame?
Yeah, new
Yeah.
endgame content. I think it would come in those.
Yeah, probably.
But with the extensive testing, I think this is kind of where they're kind of, you know, there might be subtle changes to different things, or maybe something becomes baseline, maybe something gets moved from one slot to another. But I think that they're trying to square this up for the ride through 60. So
Yeah.
that's what I believe they're doing. So we'll just have to see, but they're doing a lot of testing. So yeah.
Yep.
So his other question was like, this was before the PTR was announced, but he kind of like changed it to like, was there a rune that came in that you really don't like, or was there a rune you were hoping for that didn't come in? I could go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Rune I was hoping for that didn't come in was oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the name now? Shadow, where I go invulnerable to, or
Cloak
not
of Shadows.
Cloak of Shadows.
Yep.
I really wanted Cloak of Shadows. Probably would have been broken on certain boss fights for tanks, but yeah, I kind of wanted that. And yeah, I didn't want Fan of Knives. Already talked about that. Another one I didn't want was Death Grip, and they gave it to Warriors. Why not give Warriors Heroic Leap? Like, that's fun for them and not super unfun for us. Like, Death Grip's unfun.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I did enjoy getting, I think it's called Meat Hook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Warriors Death Grip.
Well, I mean, yeah, if I'm playing by Warrior, that's enjoyable. I'm just saying it's not enjoyable for anybody else.
No, yeah, it's not. It was cool to like. That was what I was gonna say. I enjoyed actually, was just because I was like, it was finally nice to see something fun and like different added to Warrior. That's not just like the same thing, straight buff, or percentage damage increase. But at the same time, I'm very, very, very unhappy with the fact that they like just took away like over half, like percentage wise, like 50%, maybe even more of our damage. Like it feels horrendous to me.
You should put a cork in that. As soon as Sand gets in, we'll stop the conversation and you two can talk about that, because he really wanted to talk about that too.
Yeah.
So we should we should put a cork in that. But that does suck though. But I mean, would you? I don't see. I think about it like this: like Death Knight, it kind of made sense for the grip, right? But it still was unfun for players. But as a warrior, I would have much rather have Heroic Leap, where I run up to a group of people fighting and I leap in and I'm like, oh, I start cleaving everybody. You know, like that feels warrior to me. Whereas,
it is definitely cool. The grip is a little weird.
Yeah, the hook sounds more like a hunter thing or a rogue thing, or it doesn't feel like warrior charging in there. But it is kind of neat to have something completely different that you haven't had before.
Yeah, I already made a weak aura that plays the scorpion vocal every time that I cast.
Get over here. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I absolutely love it, especially in PvP. But I love the gun runes for Rogue, because it just gave me such a new, like, in-your-face play style that I really liked, rather than trying to like constantly run crippling poison and stuff. I just love slowing them down with my gun, and like, so I totally get it, and kind of makes me want to play my warrior a little bit more. But we'll talk more on warriors when Sand gets here. Well, thank you guys for your questions. What you been doing in WoW lately, Hammer?
So been raid logging Kata for the most part. Not because I don't enjoy it or not because I don't like it, but I just for me, continue Cataclysm was kind of when I stopped playing WoW originally for a few years. So I'm kind of just raid logging there. I'm enjoying the raids quite a bit, a lot more than I thought I would.
Definitely
actually.
same.
Yeah, yeah. And then over on
Well, hold on though. Let me ask you on that. You say you're raid logging, but I mean, you did a ton of playing. I mean, your one character's like over 9,000 gear score. Like you did, like you got like everything you could get from the vendors, the Valor vendors, and everything. So it's not like you're slouching. I'm kind of slouching. I'm only like 86 or 8,700 gear score, and I want to go do heroics, but I've been out of town and everything has been going crazy.
I know, dude. I haven't done my heroics yet for this
you
week.
have two characters, don't you, though? You have two characters geared out.
Yep, the Shaman and my Death Knight. But the Death Knight, I really kind of I'm only using for PvP. I actually was having a blast in Kata arenas. I wasn't a big fan of Wrath arenas. Loved TBC arenas, did not really enjoy Wrath arenas, and loving Cataclysm arenas. I think they're an absolute blast. The PvP feels really good. So that's why I leveled that Death Knight, strictly for PvP. Well, but even my Shaman, I do some PvP on too. We've been doing arenas. We were doing threes, me and my Cheese Bag, which is my Shadow Priest friend, and then Druid Healer, Shibby. We were just absolutely decimating in threes. It was so much fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, and from what I hear, is that in Cataclysm, you really don't have to raid much to like be competitive. Like most of your stuff is all attainable outside of raid, which sounded kind of cool. Yeah.
It is pretty awesome. I mean, the one thing that I've noticed about Kata that is really cool is that there's no one part of it that's focused on harder than another. Like if you're a PvPer, you can enjoy the game and you can still raid. If you're, someone who PvEs and you want to get into PvP, it's super easy. You just pick up it's so cheap now to pick up like the auction house crafted set and just jump into arenas, and you don't get left behind, which is the best part. You're earning arena points or conquest points as you play games. Even if you lose, you get 70 points. You could hit your cap every week, even if you lose every single game, which is pretty nice. You're not just stuck behind if you missed a week or whatever. It's good.
And then also in PvE, the change that they made to where the Valor point cap of 1,600 just stacks now. So like in week 3, it's shoot, I can't do the math. It's oh god,
4,800, I think.
4,800. Yeah, it's just it just keeps going up. So if you wanted to, you could come back and do 20 heroics in a day and get all of that right then. If you do it now, like what I mean. Yeah. So like if you make a new character now, the catch up looks great. And from what I hear, even in PvP, you can catch up in like, in a season you can miss a few weeks in the front of the season. I heard this from Venruki, and he said you still can catch up and not be behind. So
it's nice.
Sounds like they have a lot of good things going for them where you can just play one aspect of the game. And, for a lot of people, that's very appealing.
Yeah, it is. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would originally.
Yeah, I think a big part of me enjoying it a lot more is I'm with you guys. And you guys are real chill. You guys are very knowledgeable about the game. We kind of go in blindish. Yeah. A lot of times to kind of figure stuff out, but then if we need to, we look some stuff up, and it's been just really fun and chill. Whereas, in other situations, I could be like with people that just aren't, I don't know, like that mess up a lot, and like I mess up, but I try to learn from everything. I mean, everybody does, but your guild has just been different than my last guild. Let's just put it like that. But also we haven't tried the hard modes yet. So I don't know if people get angry then. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I kind of was thinking about that actually the other day once we, like it feels like this next phase of SoD is actually quite a ways off still. So I was like, maybe we should just try a few, you know what I mean? And start, you know, because I know we were all in the mindset of like, oh, you know, this is just kind of like filler. We're just having fun.
Well, I mean,
But
but we were also, I mean, gearing up to,
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, it's like we didn't all go through the pre-gearing grind as hard. So I think, you know, now we're like ready. There's definitely a few. I've looked into a few. There's definitely a few we can do.
yeah, definitely. So maybe we'll start giving those a shot, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely down. Um, so okay, and then you were saying what you've been doing in Amsad.
Yeah, over on SoD, I was pretty inactive, you know, once Kata came out for a while. You know, there was really not much. My guild kind of, our Sunken Temple group kind of, many of them were all like full BIS. People didn't want to really go anymore. So we kind of put a lid on it, waiting. But we actually kind of started like a fresh SoD movement where people are leveling new characters, and you know, everyone kind of came back. So we're actually pretty active over on SoD again.
Dang it! I was supposed to tweet that out and do an announcement in my Discord. I've been so busy. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we actually have a good amount of people.
Yeah, why don't you tell them all the information real quick?
Yeah, so we're over on Lone Wolf Alliance. We're the tavern. We were actually. Side note, we were the first guild created on the server on launch day. We had the week leading up to it, we had planned out the entire thing, how we would get the guild created as fast as possible. I forget the exact amount of time that it took us, but it was like within like under 10 minutes. We were the first guild created on Lone Wolf, and then the second guild was Shrimp Gang. Yeah.
I think it took Swamp.
Yeah, we weren't even leveling. We had this whole route planned. There was like 40 of us all doing this together. We were down below Goldshire at level 1 to get all the money together and all that. So we were the first guild created.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a fun little like launch day event that we did. It was huge. Like everyone participated. And yeah, we kind of just started like not like a super big movement or anything. It's really kind of just like an internal thing. Like a SoD fresh thing where everyone's right now just made new characters and they're leveling up, and there's people to like run dungeons with and get your runes with and all that good stuff. It kind of feels really good. It feels pretty fresh.
It's awesome.
And yeah, it's going well. I made a druid because I saw how incredibly strong feral druids looked on the PTR. So I was like, I'm gonna have this in the bank just in case.
Oh man, I kind of wish you had done it on a Horde Crusader Strike, because it'd be nice to have you guys over there.
I know I tried to get everyone over. I got like 2 or 3 of us are over there. Like Cheese Bags has an alt over there. Shibby has one. A couple of people that from the raid that you're in have characters over there, but I for some reason can't get the majority of the guild over on Horde. They're like Alliance fanboys through and through.
Dude, I'm an Alliance fanboy, like, but
yeah, me too.
I'm starting to identify as an undead rogue and an orc hunter. Like, it's slowly happening to me. So I don't know, but I really like human. But
yeah, it's my favorite. To put it this way, I have 2 rogues on SoD, right? I have my Night Elf rogue on Lone Wolf, and then I have my undead rogue over on Crusader Strike. And I will say there is a major difference in the way you feel playing the character.
Yeah.
Undead rogue, I feel like I am supposed to just be
evil,
you know, just an evil prick to everybody. Yeah. Yeah. And it's great. It feels so good.
Well, yeah. And see, everybody makes fun of me because like you play a fantasy game to play human. I play human in every fantasy game because I like to get into it and feel like it's me. No, I don't role play. I probably would have when I was younger if I was around people who were also into it, but in my head, I do the same thing with movies. I relate to one of the characters or shows, and I like feel with them. I'm a empathetic person instead of a sympathetic person, so I feel with rather than feel for, and so it just makes it easier for me to feel like I'm in there. You know?
Yeah. Yep. I'm the same way. That's why my warrior is human. I just can't not play human. Like I could play, you know, other races, but my main is always human.
Yep. And I never play in RPGs. I never play female, right? Like I always play male. Yep. Now I could totally like Overwatch or something like that. I could totally play any girl, you know, like, but that's not a game where I'm feeling like I'm immersed in it and it's me, you know?
Yeah. So, same.
Yeah. So, but yeah. What was I going with that?
Yeah. We were just what we were up to in
yeah. I was okay. Well, here we'll go with this. So I haven't been playing a ton of WoW. Actually, I've been on a little bit of a WoW break. I've been extremely addicted to getting done with Final Fantasy VII and getting most of the stuff done to where I'm ready to run it in hard mode. And I just wanted to get through it before I saw any more spoilers or anything. So I finally beat that. Now hard mode I can complete over a long period of time, and it's no big deal. And it's really fun to like just kind of slowly move through that, because you have to rebuild for every big fight. You have to rebuild all your team completely and material loadout and everything. It's pretty neat. But I've been addicted to that. So Mel and I get off from raiding the other night, and Mel's off of work the next day for us to go out of town, right? So we get done raiding with you Tuesday. I go to play Final Fantasy. She goes and she starts, dude, archaeology's dangerous. She starts digging.
Yeah. I saw, yeah.
She starts digging. All of a sudden, 7 hours later, she comes out of the computer room. She's like, Bobby, it's like 6 in the morning. I'm like, oh shit. I lost track of time. It's like 6 in the morning. It's just freaking, she never stays up that late. And she was just up digging. She did get something, a ring or something.
Yep. I saw that, yeah.
She didn't get her trinket. Then the next day she's back on and she's like, but I can still get the trinket. I'm like, dude, don't you understand? You can get all this other stuff that you don't want too. It's like, you're lucky as hell you just got the ring. It was like, quit while you're ahead. And she's like, digging's dangerous, guys. Digging's dangerous.
Yeah, people got addicted to it. I didn't jump on the digging train for some reason. It wasn't my thing.
Well, she tells me, she's like, don't do it. It really is addicting. She's like, she's like, everybody tells you that, and you do it, and then you realize you shouldn't have done it.
Yep.
So, okay, so yeah, so that we did that. You know, I've been raid logging in Kata also. I'm really enjoying the raids in Kata and stuff, and you know, I'm just like taking it easy with it though. Nothing crazy. Like, there's plenty of people taking it crazy, but I'm not one of them. And then for SoD, I've still been raiding. Both of my raids, the raid that I run Wednesdays has been going. We've managed to get enough signups every week so far. This week's looking a little hairy, but I'm going to keep bothering people and bugging people, and hopefully we get it going. And I'm also not going to be running it that week, so that might be, I don't know, like the guy that's going to run it, though, it helps me run every week. I mean, he does most of the actual raid leading it himself. So I think they're going to be fine. But then the other raid I'm in, my hunter's in Bobka's Sunday more casual raid. And that one's still going too. Definitely have some new recruits that have been spreading blood, but we're out gearing it enough now that we're able, like last night we had blood spread twice to everybody, and our healers were able to keep us up. I mean, we're also popping potions and everything else, but it's just interesting that we're geared enough now to kind of like push through a what would have normally been a wipe. Also, we didn't have DMF, but we had all the other buffs. But yeah, that's really all I've been up to. I haven't got to play much PTR at all either. I probably won't until next week when I get back in town. I might be able to jump on my laptop or something, but I'm probably going to be busy throughout the days when I'm out of town. So it's kind of a bummer, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's basically all I had as far as what I've done. Let's move into time for the news. All right, so we got the new runes first off here, but I don't think we need to go through all of them. But let's just kind of, like, I already went through the rogue ones earlier in the show. Let's kind of go through the ones of the classes that we play and just kind of talk about those. And then if there's any that you've seen, you know, you can pull any out that you want to talk about, but let's just try that. Do you want to talk about one of the classes that you play? Your
Yeah,
new
yeah.
runes?
Yeah, we could talk about warrior. Well, do you want to wait for sand for warrior or?
Yeah, yeah. Let's wait for sand for
Okay.
warrior. But you've got shaman. What else? Shaman, rogue.
Yeah, shaman. I haven't played shaman in SoD, but
Oh,
I
I
mean,
thought you
I
were
could talk on
working
the
one
runes for
up.
sure.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
working one
yeah,
up. But okay, we'll just talk on whichever one you want.
yeah. Well, we could start with shaman because I was watching a lot of PTR stuff and shaman. So they got their three cloak runes were feral spirit, right, which are the wolves, that everyone knows. Coherence, which was a healing rune, and then the one that everyone is talking about is storm, earth, and fire, which I can read it to you right now. Reduces the cooldown of your chain lightning by 100%. Right, so taking the cooldown completely off of chain lightning causes your Earthbind totem to root targets for 5 seconds when cast, and increase the periodic damage done by flame shock.
Here, hold
That
on.
rune,
Hold
yeah.
on, hold on, hold on. Can you read it from just right after the chain lightning cooldown was reduced because you kind of broke up on this end?
Yep. Yeah. So no chain lightning cooldown if you're using this rune. Causes Earthbind totem to root targets for 5 seconds upon casting, and then increases the periodic damage by flame shock. Right. So essentially, this rune is now allowing Ellie shamans to spam chain lightning. Similar to Wrath. I mean, similar to Kata, and we see what that does. So shamans are putting up incredible damage numbers on the PTR, like actually insane.
Caster shamans.
And in a yeah,
Ooh,
Ellie
PvP.
shamans. And I was gonna say, in a PvP situation, think about like a Rothi Basin or anything like that, where everyone's clumped up and they're just sitting there and they can get off like 3 or 4 chain lightnings with elemental mastery. Dude, it is like it blows my mind, and it really does suck because I'm on Alliance, right? So we've been fighting shamans. This is gonna be the 4th phase now, and they've been just busted since phase 1. To see them get that is like, I don't even understand what the purpose of being Alliance is anymore. There's just no reason. It's so broken, dude.
Oh, it's weird because like I figured that they were just gonna cave and give Alliance Shaman and Horde Paladins, but that did not happen. At least yet.
No.
I mean, they did say there's more surprises to come, so who knows?
Yeah, maybe further on down the line, to like to kind of entice people to re-roll and stuff as maybe later on after War Within is out and all that, and we're coming up to that like next phase. I could see it happening, but yeah, shamans are looking real strong. Warlocks, I would say their rune that's kind of standing out to everyone is Decimation. So anyone who is like familiar with Wrath of the Lich King, Demonology Warlock, you basically have Decimation now in SoD, which turns your Soulfire into kind of like an execute from 35% onward. Reduce the cast time. Yeah.
Execute phase.
Yep. And obviously it doesn't cost a soul shard or anything. It removes the cooldown from it. So that's kind of cool to see Warlocks getting that execute. That was a pretty fun mechanic. I mained Warlock in Wrath of the Lich King, so that was another cool one to me.
It's the type of deal too, where like the longer a fight is, like the better this is, and then also like BWL Veil. Woo!
Yeah,
there's just gonna be execute phase the entire time.
Yeah,
with unlimited mana and extreme haste. It's gonna be pretty crazy.
Yep,
pretty crazy. Exus in chat saying it's pretty copium to think they're gonna give us Pally and shamans.
Yeah, I mean you never know, right? You never know. Yeah. I guess it would kind of go against the grain of classic, but
it is definitely copium. It is like I thought they were gonna do it, but like. Also, I thought they weren't going to do it because it's going to require quite a bit of work on their side and to decide how they're going to do it. Like, do you defect from the other side and now you've got, a random Tauren or Orc, that's like, on the Alliance side or yeah,
that would be interesting.
Do they pick do they pick a race that could be Shaman or Pally on the other side? I don't know. Or do they just do the super lazy route and just give us blood elves and and space goats? You know. So yeah, I don't know. Be interesting.
Yeah. They're looking good. Did you see mages at all, Bob? Did you see mages got overheat, which is really cool.
I heard something about it.
Yeah. Fire mages are looking beefy. I think they're actually the top DPS on the PTR right now with overheat.
What does it do?
So basically it a lot of people might be familiar with this from later versions of the game, but essentially it takes Fire Blast off the global cooldown. So it's no longer on the global cooldown. It always crits, and it can be cast while casting another like a spell, right? So you know you're opening with Pyroblast or whatever on the boss pull or whatever, or you're casting fireballs mid rotation or Scorch. You can now hit Fire Blast while you're casting. It doesn't interrupt your cast. It just goes. It goes off. It'll always crit, and it's not on the GCD. So it is really strong. And obviously, if it's always critting, that's generating procs of Hot Streak, which allows you to cast those instant Pyroblasts. So it looks really, really strong. I actually think Mage might be with what we have right now. It's all subject to change. Obviously, we have a couple of weeks of PTR, but they're really strong, like super strong.
And, something to mention with it being off the global cooldown, that means it's macroable into all of your different moves. So
yeah,
macro it into Fireball, you can macro it into Pyroblast, you can macro it into everything. So when you're spamming your normal rotation, it's just going off whenever it's off cooldown. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But you also got to think, it's going to be interesting too, because well, we can talk about this when we get to the ring rooms, but just like one thing to think about is there will be a little bit of fire resistance on Molten Core bosses and Molten Core stuff, but they did say it wouldn't be as nasty as it was before. Like it would be like where you're losing like 10% of the normal damage you would do on something else. So it's kind of like they're getting the armor treatment that. Fire's getting the armor treatment that we got in Nomer, I think.
Yeah, that is very true.
Another thing, Mel would be upset if I didn't mention this. Soul warding for priest. Power word shield has no cooldown, a reduced mana cost, and increased magnitude. Now, it's basically saying. No longer has a cooldown. There'll still be the debuff on the target after the shield goes off, but it costs 15% less mana, gains 15% additional base value. That's the base value of the shield just at level 1, and gains an additional, or at whatever scale to whatever level you're at, and gains an additional 50% of your healing power. So Mel's like, shit. Here we go again. I'm a freaking shield bot again. I was cracking up. But
that it is pretty strong.
Yep. And then Shadow Priest, Vampiric Touch, a damage over time effect that grants 2% of damage dealt as mana returned to all party members. Do you have mana problems?
I don't remember anyone in our raid having mana problems. I think things are dying so fast.
See,
when we were still doing Sunken Temple.
If I have a shaman in my group, and I think Paladin's got like something like Maelstrom something or something equivalent, but they give me I'm just sitting there on my hunter and I'm just got full mana all the time. It's interesting, but without a shaman, I don't. But is this?
I will say that on the PTR.
Useful?
Yeah, it might be because on the PTR currently on the test work fight, a lot of mages are having mana issues. Warlocks are like completely drained for most of the fight. So maybe it'll be helpful. I don't really know. I haven't seen many hunters.
Caster group.
Yeah. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. But I don't know. I don't really follow much on Priest. But it's going to be one of those things where we don't know if it's. I don't even know if it's going to be part of their rotation, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's mana battery, you know, usually is good. I guess it just depends on how long the fights are, and then they got binding heal, which if anybody doesn't know, it's a heal where they heal the target and themselves, and in this case, it benefits from all the triggered effects associated with flash heal. So if any of your talents have flash heal and stuff, like buffs in there, like it's gonna basically, you know, they've been doing a lot. They've done a lot of runes like this. It just gains everything from that. So looks like Sand's jumping in here in a minute too.
Awesome.
I'll go ahead and talk about the hunter runes real quick. So improved volley, your volley damage, increased your volley damage by 3% of attack power each time it deals damage. So it ramps up. So the more targets, more damage, I would guess. And then it no longer has a cooldown and no longer suffers pushback from damage. So it's a channeling spell, and so you no longer lose channel time as you're getting hit. It's interesting. Probably if you're standing and stuff. I don't know. And then the mana cost is reduced by 50%. Yeah, I've still not really gotten back into ranged hunter. I'm still really enjoying melee hunter, so it sounds good. Then there's yeah. Do you have anything to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds. I don't know. To me, let me know how you feel, because you actually play hunter in SoD. I really haven't gotten one high enough to raid or anything. I was looking at the hunter runes, and to me, they looked pretty. They left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. But the only one that really kind of looked pretty cool to me for PvP was hit and run. Raptor Strike, increasing your movement speed by 15% for 4 seconds, so you kind of like whack someone and then basically get like a little sprint away. But yeah, I haven't played much hunter at endgame in SoD, so.
Well, and not just sprint away, but sprint after the mage blinks.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
you know, everything. Here, we'll introduce Sand real quick. Here, he just popped in.
I just snuck in, bro.
We've been holding. How you doing, guys? We've been holding specifically the talk about the warrior runes for you, but we got to get through just this little last piece of hunter, and then the stage will be all about how much you hate the warrior changes.
Oh, I'm upset. I'm upset. All right.
All right. So yeah. So the Raptor Strike thing is like actually pretty cool. Might be pretty cool for PvE too. Yeah. On some fights, because I mean, you do spend a lot of time running, and you know the absolute best feat enchant for a melee is run speed. You know, when that tank moves and you weren't ready for him to move and you lose like a hit or two, like, yep, this is one of those times where you would be able to just go ahead and be like, oh, okay, I'll catch up quicker. Like, I don't know, but yeah. PV.
How do you feel about resourcefulness, Bob? Because I haven't played much hunter, so I don't know how impactful that is. But is that good?
So it might be really impactful. So the rotation in for ranged hunter like puts in traps, and right now they have to weave in a frost trap, the one that goes down on the ground, and it really kind of makes mechanics a bitch to deal with, like ground mechanics. Like when a hunter puts it on the ground on Eraticus, phase 3, yeah, like it's really hard to see the acid rain on the ground. So like that's a big pain. Yep. So this would probably allow them to just weave in explosive trap and just weave that in instead of having to weave in both of them. So that's my guess on that. You can let me know if I'm wrong, but I think that's basically what it's going to do, and that's going to be great because then we don't have to have that shit on the ground.
Right.
But also, for a ranged hunter in PvP, this is like pretty sick too. I mean, the PvP, like if you buff your traps and everything, like having the frost trap down roots people. I mean, it's all kinds of shit you can do with the traps. If you're constantly throwing them, also just like CCing one target with that is absolutely nuts. But I'll tell you, in PvP, as a melee hunter, I don't use dual wield specialization. I use trap launcher. And I rock a two-handed weapon. So like it's actually huge because I hit like a truck, but then I could use trap launcher to CC one target, slow people down, and I still use range. Like I still use a heavy bow, you know, and I still do pretty good damage from range. So like I'm picking them down before they even get to me, and then I'm just blowing them up because they think I'm a melee hunter or they think I'm a ranged hunter.
Right.
So the traps are really powerful in PvP. So I don't know. I don't know if I would want resourcefulness or hit and run. I think probably hit and run for my play style, but I think a ranged hunter in PvP could utilize that too, because they have a big cooldown on Raptor Strike. But if they just hit it once to get away from somebody, you know, they wing clip, hit it, and run out. Like they're getting so much more ground away from them before they come out of the wing clip. So yeah. So I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also, if you're not using the rune, you can Raptor Strike. You could actually macro in, because it's not on the global cooldown. You can macro it into wing clip. So be interesting to see what all you can do in PvP. I think Hunter's going to be really strong in PvP once again. But I don't see any. Yeah, there's a lot of baseline changes and little changes to Melee Hunter that I'm really curious to see if they're just going to make him not good in PvE anymore, but we'll just have to see. But now that we have Sand here,
time to complain, bro.
Let's do the warrior the warrior talk here, and I'm gonna make a cup of coffee while you guys have at it. Sound good?
More complaining for me.
Oh yeah, let me check your volume levels, Sand. Talk again.
Oh yeah, I might be a little too excited right now.
No,
I don't know. Am I too loud?
Nope, perfect. You're good. You're good. All right, I'll be back.
I've been looking for every excuse possible to complain on every other channel possible about the warrior, brother. This is my time. This is what I do now. I am like an activist, you know, like going to talk shows to like promote like a charity. No, I am promoting the cause of the warrior right now. I took it upon myself to promote this mantle. So, Hammer, you don't play a warrior, you play a paladin, right? Like,
No, I main warrior. I actually have main 2 warriors in SoD, so I'm pretty upset.
Oh, because I saw the signups and I thought you were going to play paladin this time again, this phase. So, like...
I was thinking about it, but yeah, I don't know. I've been on the PTR quite a bit testing warrior the first few days, and really, really unhappy with how it feels. I mean, literally most of these test work fights, I'm below tanks in DPS. With everything that I've tried. So I have not tried like Glad Stance, Devastate spam, but I hate that as like a DPS rotation. Like if that is the playstyle, I might actually reroll.
It's really sad what they did to Gladiator, because the only situation where Gladiator would make sense with these new runes is with the new flagellation if you're taking damage. But they also went in and nerfed the threat by 30%. So you are not going to hold aggro if you're Gladiator anymore. Correct. Gladiator tanking is dead. So there is no functional reason to play Gladiator anymore, aside from, I don't know, if you're a pro warrior and you don't want to pick up a weapon for some reason.
Yep.
But honestly, I think the pro warrior is the deep pro traditional tank is the only spec that is like more or less intact. Like, yeah, they took our flagellation away, and that kind of sucks. But if you're taking damage, I think we're going to be fine, because the new flagellation does give you a lot of rage if you're taking damage. But so, the DPS warriors, they got gutted.
I'm interested to hear about something real quick. So Rogue had a really cool change made to him in the Waylay rune. which is the rune for tank rogues where they, like, every time they dodge or parry, I can't remember, but they dodge or parry one of them, then they gain 6% health, and it just stacks up to five times, and it's just like a health buff that just moves their health up. Well, that rune also now converts defense rating to attack power 1-to-1. So if you have 15 defense on an item, is it? I thought it was 1-to-1.
For the warrior, it is 4-to-1, and it is still useless.
Oh, for the warrior, it is. Okay, so for the rogue, I think it's just 1-to-1.
That might be.
But I could be wrong on that. But that's pretty cool for like the tank rogues. I just wondered if they did something change for warriors. So they did do that. You said it's not good?
Well, no, because
one
first of all,
defense
like,
would be like 2 strength then, attack power wise.
yes, it would be like 2 strength. The thing is that defense is actually, the more you stack of it, is like a, it actually counters your threat. The more defense you get, the less threat you generate. Because if you're a proud warrior that you're trying to pump right now, you're taking the enraged talent. And that means you want to get crit from time to time. That 25% extra damage adds up to a lot. There are some people that want to go for Arms and Impale. Without the damage modifiers, I just don't see a reason to go Impale right now.
Oh,
so...
I had another question for you, but I can wait for a second.
No, bro, go ahead. Go ahead. I will complain. Don't worry.
So I watched your video the other day about warriors, and I don't know if you misspoke, or I'm wrong, or you were just wrong. But correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody in chat or anybody in comments, they're saying, but you said a warrior having a shield makes them uncrittable. If they're using shield block, I don't know if you said if they're, but that's the reason. If you're using shield block on cooldown, I was under the impression that it only made you uncrushable, not uncrittable. Uncrittable was the next thing that you could attain. Or
no, because like when you cannot block when you block a crit, like when you block a hit, it cannot crit. So that's why you see a bunch of people that do not stack defense anymore.
Is that the reason? Oh, okay. So
it cannot crush and it cannot crit.
So I'm just both. Backwards. It's both? Really? I thought it was just one of them. I feel like Corpse told me that. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to look like a fool right now. I got to look it up, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Yeah, maybe I live my entire life under a lie.
Well, I know it at least does one of them, like a naked warrior.
No, there you go. It cannot crit. I just looked it up. You made me doubt for a second, bro. You scared me.
Okay, so what's happening is basically to get uncrushable is the next phase. Is like why warriors stack defense before, right?
Well, it's for both. Like with defense, it reduces a flat chance of getting crit. So the more defense you got, there's less chance of getting crit, period. But defense also gives you block, dodge, and parry, a tiny amount of all of them. So that you can also stack avoidance that way. But the thing is that unless you're against a fast-hitting boss, because there are bosses that can hit you faster than you can put shield block on you because it has a cooldown. But unless, who doesn't have 25% avoidance? Shield block is going to give you 75% block. So you will have enough avoidance to be 100% every time if you got shield block up on you. Problem is that, sometimes if you are fighting like 2 mobs, maybe that will be a problem, that you can get crit in that situation. But I just think it's not worth it. Like sometimes I get crit on purpose just to do more threat.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. Well, and also defense is like armor. The higher you go up, the less it's giving you. You know, like you get a lot of avoidance at 1,000 armor, and then 1,000 more, you get half of the block value that you got before. 1,000 more, you get an eighth of the block value, and it just keeps diminishing in returns. That's why exposed armor in PvP is really good against clothies, but not great against warriors. Like so. Mm-hmm. But
that's also why every single debuff counts, because like the difference between like 1 armor debuff on the boss or 2 is not that big, but the difference between 6 debuffs or 7 is like insane. We're talking like 5% more damage.
Yep. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your your complaint party.
Oh yeah, about that. So, Hammer, did you find half of all your damage? Because I woke up the other day, I went to the PTR and like I cannot find half my damage. Do you know where it went?
No, I don't know where it went. It's absolutely gone, and it feels atrocious to play, dude. And it's so sad. It's always I've mained warrior for like 15 plus years. It has always been my favorite class. And it, people like, honestly keep saying that it's because there's no, like they have to take away all this damage because they're going to scale crazy with the world buffs and all this stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's already a class, right? That like is not fun to play in PvP unless you have support, right? Like a healer. So now you take away all the damage. Like, how am I supposed to ever PvP? How, like, it is literally half or more of the damage is gone. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sad, but that's pretty much what it is, right?
Well,
it's a
then you
lot
also have the
gone.
Dual Wind Fury is
20%.
65%. I added it up. It's insane. Like there's Sunken Temple Warriors that do more damage than we do in the PTR right now.
That's what I was saying. On the PTR, I'm like, my level 50 warrior is doing like double the DPS of what I'm doing at 60 in full, the full heroism set. Like this is actually, it felt so bad that I was so discouraged that I logged off and didn't log back on the PTR for 2 days.
But if you think back to like 2019 Classic, think how wimpy the warrior was without world buffs. Like you got badass, BWL and on. If you lost your buffs, you still could do some good damage. But I mean, you were pretty wimpy without world buffs early on.
Yep. I agree, Bob, but I think it's almost worse than 2019 Warrior with no runes.
And you gotta understand
if the runes are gonna scale even. Are we gonna make you scale even harder? I just wonder.
There's no runes. We're missing 2 rune slots now. They took them away and gave us nothing new. Like if they said we're taking away 25% of your damage, but you get this new ability that is Mortal Strike 2, we're gonna call it. Okay, fine. But we didn't get anything. They just removed the damage and gave us nothing.
Yeah.
Well, we should clarify. They didn't remove the runes. They just tweaked the runes to the where you.
They nerfed them to nothing. 0% damage.
Yeah.
Flagellation only gives you rage if you're taking damage. Like I am a pro warrior, so I'm gonna be fine. But DPS, they lost an entire rune. There's nothing to take on the chest. What are they gonna take? Victory Rush for when they kill trash? That's it.
Yeah.
I think we do just still need to wait to see what it's like with world buffs, because they're gonna tweak them a bit. You know what? Like they're doing the smart thing where they nerfed it to the ground first, and then they're gonna, it's kind of like the military where they break you down and then they build you back up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
that's
they
what I'm
did
hoping.
that way rather than what they were doing to the hunter with the slow nerfs that just had to keep happening in phase 1 and 2, just slowly nerfing them down so they feel like they're getting their ass kicked all the time. Whereas now you're taking a good ass whooping and they're going to give you some stuff. You're going to come back up like Rocky,
Hopefully. If you die now and lose those buffs, you might as well log off, give someone else your spot, because you're basically healing the boss.
And you got to understand, Bob, that like warriors got nothing but damage. Like if a cat sucks, the cats are kicking ass right now. But if a cat sucks, they got Mangle, they got Wind Fury, the good Wind Fury, they got Leader of the Pack, they got value to bring to the raid. The Shadow Priest sucks, at least they generate mana. So if you got a 99 parser in your guild that is a mage, you're gonna get a Shadow Priest no matter what. If warrior sucks, there's nothing for them to do in the raid. They're gonna suck.
I beg to differ with you, man. Battle Shout is always going to be huge. Like nobody else gives that. It's a ton of attack power.
Yeah.
Like people get really mad when I don't have a warrior in one of the melee groups. Like, and then if there's only one warrior, they're like, "Can I get moved to group 1?" And I get it. I mean, I get it. I try to have them in each. But. Yeah, I would love for the melee hunter to be able to give the AP buff, so people stop bugging me to go ranged. Please, thank you. I don't know why that's not just a baseline. That would have been a good baseline to change.
But that's a good point that you're bringing, though, because what can the warrior provide on utility-wise? Thunderclap, Demo Shout. I mean, Druids can do Demo Shout, but still. Thunderclap, Demo Shout, and Battle Shout, and Commanding Shout.
So can Priests.
So, yeah, but like I'm saying, you can get all the utility of a warrior on a prot warrior, which seems to be doing okay. What's the point in taking a DPS warrior? Just take a prot warrior and it's over, which is very sad.
Well, yeah, but you would want, you would want one for the other melee group. You'd want at least two, I think.
Do you guys remember in the beginning of SoD where there was like a meme going around, like Blizzard said that they weren't going to nerf warriors. They were going to just bring every other class up to their level for Classic. They've done the complete opposite of that.
Well, and it seems like, I hate to get on them because I think they're doing so many good things.
Oh,
but
they are 100%.
But the problem that I have is that, dude, you gave warriors all these runes that increase damage. Why didn't you give them just fun runes that increase mobility, increase blah, blah, blah? Like that would have made them better in PvP. And it would have kept them at the same level, damage-wise. So
you're right, Bob. They gave warriors all the runes, all these damaging runes, right? Throughout all of SoD.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. People's main complaints were like the play style, consumed by rage, kind of like was annoying to play around, all that stuff. So they gave you all this damage, and now they've waited until the last phase, the most fun phase, the phase that everyone looks forward to, and then say, all right, all your damage is gone now. Like, I wouldn't have played warrior this whole time. I wouldn't have had two warriors this whole time.
I had a feeling something was going to happen. That's why I didn't end up playing my warrior in I had to choose two, and the warrior. It's so funny because I thought I was going to main Druid and Rogue, and now I'm maining. It was either going to be Druid and Rogue, or it was going to be Warrior and Rogue, and now I'm maining Rogue and Hunter, and I didn't even think I was going to play Hunter, but yeah.
I mean, no matter how bad it is, I never give up on Warrior. Like I'm Fight Club Discord is like insane. They will find a way to pump, but it's like, I am very, very sad.
They could have given Warriors DPS runes, but link the higher DPS runes to shit that's in the deep prot tree. Like link runes to those so that you're forced to go deep prot, and deep prot can actually be viable and be good damage rather than people wanting to go dual wield. Like that would have been
Hot
fine.
take, I think deep prot is okay. Because Vigilance is going to get 15% more threat of your modifier from deep prot anyway. So, like, no matter how bad the warrior is, you scale of 10% of the most broken class in the game's threat. You're never going to be short of threat anymore.
Yeah, but did you get a cleave? Could you... Because even Rogue got something where they're going to be able to handle...
We got Shockwave, it's an AoE. It's an AoE stun. It does a lot of threat. It's very good,
What kind of cooldown is
I think prot is fine. Everybody else sucks now, and that's a problem because prot is not popular. It's DPS that is popular.
What's the...
Like, we're losing 30% of the population. When you shove 30% of the population, like just from a cynical business perspective from Blizzard, there's no way this isn't stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying that you're saying because there's so many people that play Warrior, you're saying 30% of the people want to play Warrior, you're saying that they should have kept them as strong to where you bring in like...
There's a difference between nerfing and taking 65% of your damage away. How would you feel if I took 65% of your damage? You'll be looking your other pair of pants if you left it there. I don't know where my runes are.
I mean,
they stole them. I woke up naked one day.
You have to remember that I was a warrior main all through 2019 Classic. Like went through everything, Nax, everything. So, I mean, I get your woes, but I was one of the 10 warriors in my group, and we were on the low side of having enough warriors to parse correctly, so I don't know.
I mean, I don't think, I think that a nerf to the percentage damage increases was definitely needed, right? Because of the scaling at 60 probably. Well, honestly, this is all speculation. We don't know yet. Some other classes could scale out of control at this point. But to take all of it away, it just, in my opinion, feels bad to play now. So I was stronger at level 50 than I'm going to be at 60. To me, I don't like the design there. That's just bad. It doesn't feel good at all. I would have been happy if maybe they could have made the rotation a little more complex, right? Like you said, throw in a couple of runes that could achieve that same damage that I was doing at level
Mortal
50.
Strike 2, baby.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But changing up the rotation and maybe making it a little more skill-based or timing-based, whatever, but still having that potential there. But to have all of that just completely ripped out from under you when we've had it for the past 3 phases, it just, I don't understand why. Yeah. That's why I tweeted Agron. I was like, can we get world buffs on the PTR? Because I want to see like how this is going to perform in like an actual raid environment. Like, you know, and I want time to like get another character ready if I'm not on board with it. Well, and he did respond.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said that they didn't put world buffs he doesn't want to put world buffs in the first few weeks of PTR, but it will come at some point in the future.
Yeah, he said.
Right?
Oh, I got so fixated in the first few weeks I didn't read the rest.
Yeah. So we got that news from that too. Yeah, is that
Basically
this PTR is going to last a while.
Yep. Yeah, that was what we got. Well, and you have to think about it too in the melee sense. Like melee has to get way more world buffs. Like it's a lot more work. So it looks like they're trying to tune the range classes, higher, like on a base level, and that's kind of scary too, because that just means if everybody loses their world buffs, all of a sudden your casters are the strongest people in your raid.
Right.
But
I don't think it should be balanced around world buffs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just, the world buffs are just weird because that was the way it was. World buffs and consumes. Melee has to jump through probably, would you say 2 times more consumes and world buffs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Melee has way more consumes.
Yeah. Consumes and world buffs. And it's just oh my gosh. So,
like every stat helps for us. Agility, strength, you need every single one. Like casters, they need intellect, spell crit, and spell power, and that's it. Like there's only so many consumables you can get for those 3. But melee, you need agility, you need strength, you need stamina, you need everything.
Yep. So yeah, that's something to think about too. These classes did more damage, but they took a lot more work to get the damage in. So
right.
Yeah, tip your melee, guys. Everybody says tip your healers, but in Classic, tip your melee for taking the time to go get all those world buffs for you so you can get through the raid faster.
Take that, healer scum.
All right, well, is that good on the class talks? The runes talks? We talked about a lot of the runes before you.
You covered every class?
We didn't cover every class, but here, I wanted to mention something about the rogues. Cloak of Shadows is now off the GCD. So it's back to what it should be for every other part of the game that it was in. And that's awesome. So, oh my gosh, I just blanked on the name again. I just said the name.
Cloak of Shadows?
No, not Cloak of Shadows.
Steven?
No, the one where you warp to him. Did I say Cloak of Shadows before? Shadow Step is what I meant. Shadow Step is off the global cooldown. So Shadow Step macros are back on the menu, boys. Shadow Step Sap, Shadow Step Cheap Shot, Shadow Step, they're back, dude. And it's going to feel so good. Shadow Step Ambush. You're going to be able to do it instantaneously, and it's going to feel way less clunky than it feels now, because it feels clunky as hell now. So that's going to be pretty cool, I think. But yeah, we didn't talk about the Warlock or Druid. The Paladin or the Druid.
I had a talk with Jay Tello yesterday. They are also upset. Like, he told me he's testing with all the consumables that are available in the PTR, and he can only do 1100 DPS. Bob, you know how much I suck at Cat? You know how much I despise playing Cat, even though I play Cat? I do 1100 DPS on Sunken Tempo. Paladins are really upset. It's not only us that got screwed. Shamans got screwed, but screw them, 3 phases of dominance in tanking. About time. If I could delete them off the game, I would. So that's good.
Paladins are very upset, but feral druids are very happy right now.
Is it
Oh, yeah.
Is
The
it,
testing that I was doing on Feral, man, I was pushing like 2K on the target dummy, single target. It was insane.
wow.
Completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
And that's
they also
without
got a
your
bigger
tier
mana
set
pool.
bonus, right? That's without
Yeah.
the tier set bonus of Rake and Rip being able to crit. That's going to add so much to it as well. That's why I rolled a Druid last week.
And the bear is getting insane too. Like they are getting sulfuras. I can only see they are gonna get Crusader enchant. It's gonna work with their gear now. So God help their souls. I think the bear may very well become the best DPSer in the game, which is sad, but we might get there. Their scaling is up there. Lacerate scale with weapon damage now.
Is it just the Ret Paladins that are upset? Because the healing stuff looks pretty.
Oh,
good.
everybody's upset, but that's
I think
just the way
Holy
we live.
Paladins might actually be very strong this phase.
Prot too. Prot got the self heal, and people don't realize that's also a lot of AoE threat that you can generate healing other people. So I think Prot is going to be very strong in AoE, like it always been. Honestly, I think the Prot Paladin is one of the few classes that they had a really good idea what to do with from the start. Like the identity of the Prot Paladin, AoE tank, they kept it. I love what they did with the Prot Paladin. The only other class that I can see that they understand how it works and made it make sense was the rest of Druid.
Okay. Well, I'll be interested to see how.
Oh yeah,
this
Resto King is
changes.
dead. Also that.
Oh really? Why?
Because they nerfed the base healing of Wild Growth, so you need to be in tree form to get the all healing values. Actually, you heal a little better if you're in tree form, but if you're like Resto King, hybrid healing while you're DPSing, it doesn't work anymore.
I mean, that kind of needed to change. That was pretty broken in PvP too.
And it was not great for healers. Healers hate doing that.
Well, DPS.
I think it's a good change.
Healing.
I like it.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good change.
Yeah, just talk with the priests that are doing Cataclysm right now and how they hate that they gotta smite every so often. Like just having to smite every so often while they heal is pushing them over the edge. Imagine doing rat like half the time. That's basically the rest of Druid.
What I hear, they should be spamming the shit out of smite and just like kind of space healing other things in Cata. But
yeah, and they are really upset.
Oh man! All right, well, let's move on to the next thing. Just letting everybody know this, like, if you're worried about spoilers, like, well, I mean, we're talking about all the runes, like the spoiler. We're off the spoiler train thing. So sorry about that. If you're, wanting no spoilers, but we're off of it. Priest racials are now going to be attainable through runes. So that's going to be, they didn't say, is this going to be in place? Are these going to be ring runes?
Yes.
Priest runes? Okay, we haven't talked about the ring runes. But yeah, so basically this is huge for what's it called? Priests on the Alliance side that didn't want to go dwarf, which is like a lot of priests don't like to go dwarf. So they'll be able to get what's it called?
Fear Ward.
Fear Ward.
Which is so important on the Alliance side. Without what? Tremor Totem? Is that what breaks fear? Tremor and Shaman?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Fear Ward is even better because it doesn't tick, like you immediately are immune to it, so.
Well, and you need it on the Alliance side for a lot of fights, which is really nice for people just being able to play whatever race they want on Priest, because that was hell back in the day.
Little bit of a question here, guys. Like Season of Discovery 2. Do you guys think the Horde should get Paladins and the Alliance should get Shamans? Because I think that's the next step.
We
honestly.
talked about it earlier, and I was hoping they'd do it this phase, but it was kind of hopium.
The problem with that is that everyone on Alliance would literally just we would just be all shamans. So that's the issue I could see with that, is that people have been, on the outside looking in for so long. At this point, everyone would be like, all right, phase 4, full rate of shamans.
I mean,
I would become a
brings
paladin
so
instantly.
much. Shamans bring so much, though. So yeah.
It's very different. I mean, I was talking about that last phase in Sunken Temple when I was doing raids on my Horde Rogue. I was like, it's kind of so busted that enhancement shamans did so much damage. So instead of having to put like 2 ferals, which didn't really do that great of damage, in the melee groups, you just brought multiple enhancement shamans that also dropped Wind Fury, but also did a ton of damage. And I was like, it's just not even fair because we don't even have that option to bring enhancement shamans. We have to bring the feral, which does half the damage of an enhancement shaman right now, right? So I was very aware of how busted that was. Once I started raiding on Horde side, I was like, oh my God, this is so much better.
Yeah. There's only one class I'm not sad about stacking, and that's Shaman. Like, give me 5, give me 6, give me
exactly.
7.
There's no reason to not bring a bunch of them. Whereas you don't want to bring 5, cat druids to your raid and right now, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very different.
And you want them to at least be able to off tank too. So
yeah,
it's even less DPS if they're spec to be able to off tank on a moment's notice, like not a different spec, like they're DPSing in the spec that they could just instantly. When the main tank drops, Sand jumps in and he's like, I get to take now.
Yep.
Although now Sand gets to take trash because Oprah doesn't want to die.
Yeah, no, honestly, like every fight I am praying Oprah dies. Oprah is her shaman, they deleted shamans of the game. Hell yeah. But anyway, like every fight I'm praying, like, please die so I can go bear. I hate this cat so much. And then he dies and I pick it up and for 10 seconds I can pretend I'm mother.
Oh, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, we appreciate what you do, Sand. It's a hard job being the off tank.
It's thankless work. I am a martyr.
Okay, so the next thing, instanced world bosses. So Lord Kazakh and Azuragos are now going to be instanced. I don't know how where are you going to walk in to go to these? Like, just going to, are they going to put a portal just like where they would normally be?
Yeah, there's a portal in the, like all the world bosses are in a portal, there's like a huge portal in Azuragos and stuff. Yeah. Probably getting inside that doesn't. Okay. I bet it's probably the same as incursions. You know how incursions you use that portal to go in? I bet you the incursions are a precedent to that. At least for the dragon, Nightmare Dragons.
Yeah. Okay, well, so how do you guys feel about this? I feel it kind of sucks in the sense that you're taking away something that Super Sweaties controlled, which was kind of a neat thing for the Super Sweaties, but it's really cool to be able to do it because there was just gear you saw that you're like, well, shit, I'm never going to get that. But maybe that's cooler. I don't know, but it's going to be cool to be able to go for that gear. And it's just another gearing route to go for. But how do you guys feel about it? Good or bad change?
I personally think it's a good change. I don't know, anyone coming from 2019 Classic, I would assume that 95 or more % of the player base never even got to see one of these world bosses, right? Like you said, it's always controlled by like the Sweaties. And I was watching someone's video. I don't remember if it was the Comeback Kids or someone else, but they had actually a pretty good idea. They said that like instead of doing this, they could have maybe made it so that every couple of hours the boss spawned.
Yeah. That would
be kind of cool.
Definitely them. Yeah.
Yeah. But it wouldn't matter because like they are going to kill the boss 7 times and you're going to kill it 0. So
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, to me personally, I think this is a good change, especially with the route that Season of Discovery is going. Just make it instant. Let everyone experience it. Like that is clearly was the reason for so many changes and design philosophies in Season of Discovery, right? So I don't really personally, it takes away from the original Classic, but we're not playing original Classic at this point. So I really don't see any downside to it.
I can
just because it's original Classic, it doesn't mean it's not stupid.
Yeah.
See, well,
it was bad.
It was really for the people that were involved, and even if you weren't the one getting the kill, just the PvP around those things was pretty freaking neat. Like having, the different strategies for PvP. It got a little weird in TBC because everybody could fly and swoop down, at one point, and that seemed a little lame to me. Some people really liked it, but
Yeah, you know what? I do agree with you, Bob, that it did add that like classic friction and camaraderie that people love. But I do think that eventually, like, think about being like, let's say you're just like a regular mediocre guild, right? And you finally get it down where you're like, all right, we're ready. We got summons ready. Like, it's about to spawn. You fucking log on. They summon you there. Your whole raid is there. And now you have some Giga guild that just comes in and is like, all right, wham, you're all dead. And it's our boss now. And you just like planned this for hours. And I do feel like that is what it would become in Season of Discovery for a lot of guilds. Like, yeah, the top guilds would be able to get it over and over again. But like the PvP aspect of it would quickly turn into like how people feel about the PvP in Nightmare Incursions, right? Like where it's like, all right, it was like interesting at the start, but now it's like this is just griefing at some point.
Yeah, like people talk about PvP fights before starting a raid, okay? Let me tell you about this place called Sunken Temple, and it sucks. Okay, have you ever tried getting inside a Sunken Temple?
I love it.
Like Sardako left our guild. Sardako quit. He was like one of the most engaged people in the entire guild. And he was like, I'm done. I'm going to a PvE server. I don't want to see you again.
He still raids in the Tuesday one, though. He left his mage for the speed run. But yeah, well, I'm actually part of a guild now that would be able to do it, you know, and it's not about that we're one of the best guilds, although they did have a really good speeds on, and I forget what place they got for the first Sunken Temple kill, but it was pretty good. But we've got 4 raids, so at any given time, you know, there's 30 to 80 people on online. So like that type of deal is where you'd be like, all right, Dragon's up, whoever's on, like join up, you know, and we'd actually have enough people to go try at it, you know, whereas a guild that's just 40 people is typically going to have 10 to 20 people online, you know, during peak hours that aren't raid hours, right? So
right.
That's why it's in those big guilds, it's a lot easier. But what about a middle ground? What about everybody gets a lockout, but the bosses still spawn on one?
I got the perfect counter offer to that.
What?
Okay.
Well, I didn't.
Like
finish.
my problem with the wall bosses is not even okay. Go for it. Go for it.
Well, I was just saying. So the super sweaties don't make the gear better or anything. Just they get a chance to do it twice in the same amount of time. One guild gets double the loot. That was all I was saying. So you'd still have those fun PvP things, but everybody still gets a chance every lockout.
Okay, like my concern of the wall bosses is not even the PvP aspect of it, because at least that is like some sort of like skill. You gotta congregate, you gotta coordinate with the guilds. How does Lord Kazakh work? Like, where every time somebody dies, there's a Shadow Bolt volley or something like that, and people take a bunch of damage. And how does the Green Dragon Nightmare guy, I forgot his name,
work? He sucks everybody in. It's crazy.
Yeah, every time he dies, he heals.
A bunch of times back in original vanilla, I was in a really big guild. Never did.
Yeah, and
Lord
you remember,
Kazakh,
like,
though.
every time somebody dies to the nature guy thingy, like that dragon, every time somebody dies, the dragon heals up, so he becomes unkillable. So what's going to happen? Like what happened in Classic? It doesn't matter if you got no PvP contest. All it takes is like 20 people that are from a competing guild that hate you. They are going to go in and they are going to chain die over and over on top of the boss, and they are not going to let you kill it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's why every time you kite him to Orgrimmar, everybody dies, because they literally heal off the people they kill. They are unkillable.
I wonder if there's kiting rules for hardcore that they built in. I wonder if that's in these servers. Curious if you can kite.
No, I've seen it happen. You can still kite them.
Okay, so they don't have the hardcore server rules then for kiting. Well, then Kazakh would be a bit of a problem for Stormwind, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Green Dragon from, what is it, Feralas? I forgot. The Green Dragon. I like that guy kills Orgrimmar all the time.
Yeah, those don't come in. Those 4 world bosses don't come in till later, right?
I think that's
we're only
2,
getting Azuragos and Kazakh in this content phase, I guess.
Well, I think they came out originally with AQ or something. I forget when they came out, but yeah.
But that, to me, like, think about that, Bob, right? So eventually you have all these world bosses and all these raids and stuff, and the world bosses are instants. I think it's going to be nice to be able to kind of like throw it into your rotation of things to just clear.
Oh, I think so too.
No.
Oh yeah, I'm happy about.
It's like Solgorov.
And
Yeah.
I didn't get to be in on him at all in 2019 Classic, but like my guild was like basically a raid log guild like after the first phase, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought it would be kind of neat for the Super Sweaties to still have that fun, because I know they have a really good time with it, and it's just kind of like a badge of honor, to be able to get them, the real way. So I just thought, I'm always about, like, just like I said in an earlier conversation, like when, we're getting the world buffs, like just make it so both ways, don't take away, like make it so both ways work. You can still get it the regular way, but now everybody has a chance to get it with other ways.
I like that. Honestly, I think that's better.
Well, we were talking about it earlier, saying there was a Discord question of like, could we have some sort of currency that we get from level 50 plus five-man dungeons? Ooh, Sand, your keyboard's coming through pretty bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But could we get like a currency you get from bosses that you can use to get a world buff in a major city, and then like you'd be encouraged to go do bosses, but you can still go get it the other way. But then also PvP badges, a certain amount of them, like AB badges or Warsong Gulch badges, could be turned in to get the same currency to get world buffs. Like then you could do multiple different things to get your buffs every week. Like if you love PvP, you can just PvP and then get all your buffs doing it. If you love PvE, you can just do dungeons and get all your buffs. So it'd be kind of neat to have different ways to get the buffs. But,
yeah, I mean, like, why are some bosses not boonable yet? How come you cannot boon the flower and all that stuff yet? Come on, man.
The flower?
Like, why?
What flower?
Like the corrupted sunflower in Fellwood?
You can boon it.
Yeah, you can boon it.
You can boon it now?
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks about that one, it's currently the only one in the game that's magic, so it's the only one that can be dispelled, whereas later on, I think Dire Maul can be dispelled, so that'll be... I don't know why they didn't just change those off of magic.
We weren't able to boon. You might be thinking of the Ashenvale event back in phase 1.
Oh, I think you're right. I might be mixing it up.
That was actually really annoying that you couldn't boon that.
Mm-hmm. Really annoying. Yeah.
I had something like that on the back of my mind. I thought it was the flower, but like, how come every single buff in the game is not boonable?
Are you
like, I get player-made buffs, but yeah.
Are you telling me that you've been coming to raid without Songflower?
Yeah. I'm a cat. I suck.
Oh my gosh. Well, you'd suck less if you had Songflower.
You would think that, but
the raid was on a 3-day lockout.
It's so easy for Horde to get too. It's so easy. You just go and like just grab it from the Horde town or the Horde flight path area. Like it's
that would require logging into Seasonal Discovery, brother. Medina is not willing for that kind of commitment right now.
Oh man, and okay, so one thing we should talk about at the raids real quick though is I don't know where it is in the notes here, but we should talk about it now, just because we're talking about raids. But so raids are going to be tuned for 20 man, but you can go into like Molten Core, Kazakh, Zergos, all of these raids, Ani, you can go in with up to 40. So it's tuned for 20, but you can go in with up to 40 people. So the more people you add, the easier it gets, and then the less chance you have of getting loot. So
wait, that's for Molten Core as well, Bob? I thought that was just for Oni and the world bosses.
Oh shit, I could be wrong.
Let me see. I'm gonna.
I think Molten Core was on that list too. I could be wrong though. Yeah, because I did see it for Ani first. It might just be for the secondary bosses.
Yeah, on the world boss updates, it says these encounters can be experienced with up to 40 players, but will be tuned as 20-player content. Onyxia will be adjusted to accommodate 40 or fewer players, along with some additional loot requirements.
Okay.
I didn't see it for Molten Core.
My bad.
If that is true. That's a wild one.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not positive that I'm right on that one. So, yeah, I apologize. Its keyboard keeps coming.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to mute myself. I'm getting DMs right now. Too many hot girls in my area.
Swipe right. Yeah, so, like, okay, so it's just going to be those. But that's kind of interesting because, you know, that means like anybody can do it with enough people. It's just, I don't think the loot drops are going to be higher, you know, the more people you have in the raid. So I don't know that.
I think they should have done it backwards, honestly. I wish they would have tuned it for 40 and you could just, I guess people were going to mold if they did that actually. But like I would prefer if they made it for 40 and like you can start slimming down your roster over time. Like back in vanilla, you know, like we were split raiding Oni and MC with 20 people, even though it was intended for 40, you know, because twice the more loot. I think that's the way to go. Too.
I don't know, man, because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that like a lot of people are really digging the 40-man stuff. And yeah, like people already, there are a lot of people that really didn't like the change to 20-man. And the 20-man rating does feel very different. It's a lot more, you know, it's a little bit more stressful. There's a lot more to get going. There's a lot more to like look at buff wise. There's, you know, I've enjoyed it, but I'm in a good situation where I have a lot of people in one guild and they kind of jump around to different raids. And so, but like for people that made a 10-man group or even had 2 10-man groups, like it's still very hard for them. They're having to pug every time. And like when we end up pugging, we usually end up by the end of the raid. If the person's good, they're asking to join, and we've got a new member, you know. And so
at the beginning, I was all for 40, but seeing how drastic the change to 20 was for a lot of players, like I guess maybe Season of Discovery's player base is different than 2019 Classic. I think 40 would just. It would kill the game and like they would be dead on arrival at that point.
Yeah, I think it's just like a combination because like if it's peace easy 40-man raids like Molten Core back in 2019 Classic, that's one thing. But Sunken Temple difficulty and 40-man, that's half the people in the game that cannot do it anymore.
Well,
like how are the guilds gonna recruit twice the same people to do that? And they gotta get high quality recruits to do it too.
See, and I think just
that's gonna be such a barrier.
The slow pace of leveling up and stopping at different interims in SoD, I think has made 40-man raiding not an option. I think if you start a fresh classic, just a normal fresh classic, even throw in all the runes, but you just can go straight to 60. I think people plan for that, get in guilds, but people have gotten cozy with the people that they hang out in SoD, you know, and then like they're forced to like add a bunch of new people in. And then if guilds merge, like there's always weird power struggles and issues, like not always, but oftentimes. And yeah. And
by definition, you gotta kill half the guilds. That's the way it would work. If you extend the raid rosters to twice as much, you're gonna have to kill half the guilds in the game.
Yep.
And I don't think that's something people want.
Yep. Or you have to merge, you know, 2 guilds, or you have to merge raids within a guild, and it's a lot. And the larger the group, the bigger the amount of clicks you get. You know how you get in 40-man raids, you get clicks. Like these 5 people hang out all the time, just them, you know, outside a raid, and they rarely, you know, are interacting with the guild like they're in their own little clique, you know, and then like those start to form and are much easier to form and can be a real pain in the ass if they all decide, okay, we're all going to quit at once, you know. They get clicks.
Like Bob, you played back in vanilla proper. Like you remember the whole class officer thing? Like you needed to like delegate like every single class. I think that was stupid too back then, but you know what I mean? Like you needed to delegate the handling of every single class to 8 people. Well, just because it was like such a pain to manage.
I ended up by the end the rogue officer, and I mean there was different things that we did that were, you know, like we all had like we had a rogue channel, warrior channel, and in the rogue channel, like when I popped, whenever I would want everybody to vanish to drop threat, because we were using sword and board tanks, so we had to drop threat usually mid or towards the beginning of the fight. I had a macro that would say vanish, and it'd say it on 9 lines, so it'd just fill their chat with vanish, and so like there were different things that I would give people cues so we wouldn't be using Ventrilo, because 40 people tried to talk about what they're going to do. Healers had the same thing where they're handing out healing assignments and everything else. So, but that was needed back then, pretty hardcore. Like,
not to mention nobody had like a lot of people didn't have the internet or like the microphone to even be there,
Yeah, they could hear, but they couldn't
dial
talk.
up, bro.
I think
Holy crap.
I had a $12 Logitech mic. It was horrible.
Yeah, my brother had like this microphone. It was what's the name of Genius brand? Okay, it was my age, maybe 1998. It said on the bottom of it. It was like a McDonald's toy. Those dinosaurs that go like that wheel sound. It's like that sounded like that, bro.
All right, well let's get back on track here. So there's also the thing that is different in Molten Core is they talked about heat levels. There could be like, basically, it looks like there's going to be heroic difficulties type of deal, where you can turn up the heat. We don't know much about it, but it does say whenever you activate these settings, it will provide higher quality loot or increased reputation from the Hydroxian warlords. I do not like the higher quality loot. I don't think it's a good idea to gate the loot here. Ugh.
Like, it happens with Cataclysm a little bit. I refuse to do heroics, by the way. Miss me with that thing. I wiped on a boss for 4 hours, and I like told my guild leader, I'm done, man. Find a new tank. I'm sorry. I'm going to do normal, and I'm just going to chill. But it just sucks, like, that to know that, yeah, we killed the boss, but we didn't kill the true boss, because the true boss is like 3 more difficulty levels. I think it just devalues the experience. I don't know, we're going to see how much harder it is, because if it turns out that the 3-level hit is just as hard as the normal one, just a little harder, I think that's also pointless. Just make the raid overall harder if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Just make one difficulty level.
If the highest difficulty level is approachable by 80% of the population, I'm okay with it. Then then that could make the super casuals have like a level that they could just go through. Right. It's when we start getting to like Cataclysm and like you're gonna have to know everything to be able to play this game, and you're gonna have to know your job perfect. Like, I don't want that for Classic. And
being on edge the entire pool, that's just oh god. And like every time you mess up a mechanic, there's no amount of gear that can save you, like, because in vanilla race, if you mess up, well, you got like more damage than you're supposed to, or more tankiness or whatever, and you can brute force the mechanics. You can do that here in Cataclysm, so that sucks. I don't want that in Seasonal Discovery. That would ruin it.
You could give rewards like, the increased reputation bonuses, even maybe like make it like a tabard thing. Like when you go to the next heat level, everybody gets a little thing like, what reputation do you want to work up in addition to hydration? You can be like, I don't feel like doing the Timbermaw hold thing, so I'll just concentrate on, and you'd have to make it so it like takes a good while, you're not just maxing everything out, but, give titles, give things like that, give mounts even. I mean, as long as you don't give the like stupid things like the Ragnaros, riding like a small Ragnaros mount, as long as you don't do that, we're good. But
they will never do that. How else are they going to get $60 off of you?
Just do a mount that makes sense in the world. That's all I'm asking. Like a camel, that makes sense. A makes sense mount. Even the head, Mim's head, even makes sense. The helicopter in TBC, Corehound would even make more sense. Like it's just like They don't
No,
make sense.
how about Executus Mount? And he's just like groaning out there like, God damn it, I hate my job.
And you're riding on him like you're riding on his shoulders, like your legs
And
draped over the edge. And you're like, Dad, go
And
this
he's
way.
visibly sad. I miss when Ragnaros was my boss, even though he killed me and stuff. It was better than this. I want that.
Bowling with the bumpers up. Oh man. So I just thought I'd mention that it's too early to really complain about it, but if we're talking like, retail, even like hard, like, I don't know, what's the one right before Mythic?
Heroic.
Like,
Yeah.
even if it's that heroic difficulty, I don't want that shit. Like, and it's just and everybody expects to be able to do it because it's classic. So give them
It ruins it. It ruins it. I think Sunken Temple killed a bunch of guilds because like it unmasked a bunch of people. Like we thought we could do it, and then it turns out a bunch of people couldn't. And like like we went through some bit of that drama ourselves in Sunken Temple, the start of Sunken Temple. Like I don't want to have to go through that every phase. I play this game because I'm old and I'm bad. If I wanted to be good, I would just go play Mythic in retail or something like that.
Well, the next thing is that they're opening up dungeons, man. Like Blackrock Depths, second half, Blackrock Spire, that's lower and upper, Dire Maul, all three wings, Scholomance, Stratholme. Like, it's gonna be a lot of dungeons to do. I hope there's reasons to do them aside from just the pre-gearing process. I mean, there'll be reasons to do Stratholme for orbs, definitely. That'll be going constantly. But how cool would it be with other raids dropped orbs?
Yeah.
Honestly, like we reached this conclusion yesterday with Telo, and it's like, how come we got heroic raids and not heroic dungeons? Because if you told me you could get heroic BRD, heroic Ubers, hell yeah, bro, I would be there day one. Let's kick some fucking ass. Like heroic raids, it just ruins the mood. I would love heroic dungeons though.
Heroic dungeons could be a thing that I could get on board with, where it gives like almost as good item level as like raids, giving other people that aren't able to get into a raid right off the bat a way to kind of gear up and like be like look enticing to a raid group, you know, like.
And people love running these like end game dungeons. You know what I mean? These are like some of the most iconic dungeons in all of WoW. I think it's
the best. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just saying the hype would just be like, I would be so into heroic, like Ubers and BRD and all that stuff.
I think it's the best experience in the entire vanilla, like the early level 60 experience, farming your Ubers, farming your LBRS, BRD. I think personally, because that's the point in the game where you got the most diversity of content to do and you got the most content to do, period. And like the grind is like almost infinite. That's also why I love TVC personally. Like people hate the attunements in TVC and I get it. But like the grind is so satisfying when you start a character.
It's satisfying the first time. I just get tired of running guildies through the same dungeons every time.
I feel you.
Would have been cool if there was a way to do it throughout multiple dungeons. So, but I agree. That's why me and Hammer on his podcast, Tavern Talk, we talked about it a while back. Like, how cool would it be if they just delayed Molten Core and the raids opening up for like 3 weeks? So everybody's going through the gearing process and, and then we're seeing like some really controlled pushes for world first, but you're incentivized to take your time leveling and to go through these. But it also makes me want that thing from the start where you get currency for world buffs for killing the last boss or something.
Yep.
Because if you get currency for every boss, you're just going to go in, kill the first boss, reset, kill the first boss, reset, kill the first boss, reset.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be a best way to do it, but there'll be a best dungeon to do it if you just get one at the end. So, excuse me. Jeez.
It'll be the same thing as Wild Offering farms. You'll be going in, killing princess, and leaving.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. Ubers, you'd expect to get like 2 or 3 of the currency. Dire Maul, each wing 1 of the currency, maybe. I don't know. I would have to go through and really test like the time it takes and everything to see, but you'd want it to kind of, you know, and then you'd.
I like it, bro. Like we could call them Onyxia head cookies, you know, and it's a cookie but Onyxia's head shape, you know, and then you eat it and then you get the buff. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yep, you got then one shaped like an ogre. It gives you the dire ball buffs. You got one shaped like a rend, you know, when you do Ubers. I don't know, it could be funny.
Yeah, like Christmas cookies, but it's just bosses.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Chat's talking about what if you make a full stealth group? Well, I mean...
We did.
Yeah, I mean, we would probably do that. I mean, I got my... Back in original vanilla, I got my pre-raid best doing rogue and 2 druids stealth running everything except for Ubers.
Yep.
So
every single tryhard guild right now is setting up 5 rogue groups so they can go straight to the last boss of LBRS and get the key within 2 hours. Like the Uber's key, like can you imagine farming that legit, clearing the place legit when half the gear in that place sucks?
I did it.
Oh hell no!
My guy's got the Uber's key on Classic Era. I have every key on Classic Era though.
In Classic Era, like I was a bear and I had a resto druid. We would go in cat form and stealth with a bunch of rogues and we would just farm it for the guild basically. That's how we got it early.
I just ran it a bunch of times and got lucky with the rolls.
Oh hell no.
And then the last one I was like, dude, this is the last one I need. Can I just have it? They were like, yeah. Pretty cool.
You ain't got me in your group, that's for sure.
Just to throw out there, the Onyxia attunement necklace looks like it's bind on account. I don't know if that means you have to send it to your other characters to unlock it. What sucks is I have 2 accounts, so I'm still gonna have to do it twice.
Yep.
But yeah, BlackRock Spire or that if they're doing that, I wonder if the BWL attunement, the Molten Core attunement, if all of them are just. You know, Molten Core's pretty easy, but I wonder if they're all Blackwing Lair's pretty easy too. But I wonder if they're all bind on account. What I'm curious about.
Onyx is the only hard one. I'm glad they took it away. Just finding Rexar, I got PTSD from that. I mean, now we live in a different time. There's a warlock gonna be selling summons to it, and he's gonna make a killing. But back in Vanilla Classic 2019, like just running through the entire Desolace just to find that guy. Oh my god!
Well, doesn't he like run through multiple zones?
Yes.
Or is it just Desolace? That was like
Feralas and
zones.
Desolace. Yeah. Loop the loop. Sucks.
Oof. Yeah, it's a long it's a long search, but. What's okay? Yep, that was the attunements. We talked about that. That looks. I mean, that's good. I think. The redesigned tier sets. I'm not really going to talk about it, but there's like a set for everybody, and they're not really set in stone yet. But I know Sand was talking about it with what's his name. I saw your video on it talking about some of the tier set bonuses seemed weird or something, but I haven't looked into too much of them, and I don't think we have time to really talk about them all, but there's a lot of changes. The next thing, BOE, bind on account ring runes. So the ring runes are going to be things like axe specialization, where you get five more points of axe specialization, which converts into 3% hit, and also drastically reduces the damage loss on glancing blows. So it's a huge thing. That's why everybody went human and everybody went orc in 2019 for sword and axe specialization and mace specialization for Alliance. But in addition, they've added like other ones, like for druid, like you can have one of them in that's plus 25 defense skill, for different classes.
Barrel specialization. Yep.
You could have increased chance to hit by 6 per set with fire, arcane, nature, all those different things. And something else to mention is you could put one of these runes in each slot, but you cannot stack any of them. So you can't have double sword specialization. But what I'm interested about, and I haven't heard anybody talk, what about humans? If they put a plus sword one, do they have plus 10 to swords?
No, it doesn't stack. It's in the tooltip. It doesn't.
Okay, that is good because plus 8 weapon skill is actually, it's either plus 8 or 9 is what you're looking for to get to have the least damage taken away from glancing blows. 5 gets you really close, but I think 8 is the number where you stop gaining DPS on glancing blows. Feel free to correct me in the comments or anything.
No, that's how it works. I think there's still gonna be some, because there are some items that got +3 on swords and axes. So I think there's still gonna be some reason to go for 8.
Yeah, like different, like you had +3 daggers for rogues in Nomergan tier gear. That was their 3 set bonus.
There's also the dagger from Dire Mold. It has 3 daggers on it. There's also the gloves in Molten Core have, I think, 5 dagger on it. I don't remember. I don't play rogue. Yep. But they can hit 8 pretty easily. It's gonna be dagger rogue. It's gonna kick some ass, Bob.
Yeah, and then is there anything else besides the defense thing? Or is it just, besides the defense thing for Druid, is it just weapon specialization and 6% chance to hit with spells?
Every tank can take the defense one. The warrior also gets it. Like, I will take it because it's like 100 more attack power. That's not nothing, but I hate stacking defense.
Well, and
I might as well, it's free.
It's something to point out to people, too. They're like, well, why does, I told you that 5 weapon skill translates to +3% chance to hit. Why would they make the spells 6%? Just to let everybody know, the way it works is you need 8% chance to hit a level 63 as melee, and you need 17 chance per hit as a caster. So it makes sense that they gave him double in that number. So I think it's really good for casters too. It makes gearing a lot easier for them.
Yeah.
Especially warlocks, warlocks complain in this phase, but warlock is like the most hit hungry caster in the game. So that's a huge buff for them.
I got a question. I don't know if either of you would know, but if you take mages, right, for example, and you do frost and fire hit, and you're using frost fire bolt, is that 12% hit on that ability?
I think it is, yes.
I don't think so. I think what it is it's 6% on each of them. So then in that case, it would just treat it as chance to hit with spells. So it's
just 6 still.
Yeah, it's not going to stack. You're still going to need chance to hit with spells. You're still going to want 11% normal. But yeah, that's one thing. And I also thought about like rogue taking one of the weapon specializations and then chance to hit with nature. Because that's then you wouldn't have to get such high chance to hit with spells. So it'd be pretty big for rogues there too. And shamans,
also keep in mind that
shamans would want to put something on there like sorry, go ahead, Sand.
No, I'm saying keep in mind that weapon skill is even better than hit, because weapon skill is pushing out the dodge and parry of the boss. It's not actually taking from your hit pool. I mean, you get I think 1% extra hit effectively, but you also push away the dodge chances of the boss. So you can get less parries and stuff. I think that's huge.
Yeah, and
Torrent power, baby. I knew it.
Shaka Zulu in chat corrects me. I forgot to say that. You want 16% hit in vanilla for spells, because in vanilla you always have 1% chance to miss on spells no matter how high you go. You can go to 20% chance to hit with spells, and you're still going to have a 1% chance to miss. So thank you, Shaka. Yeah, and then what else we got here? really just the last thing here. Really, we talked about the new tier stuff, but Blizzard is making legendary items useful to more classes in Season of Discovery, like the Hand of Rag, which is funny. Our guild only saw one of the things for this until like way later. I guess like when what's it called was out, we saw another one drop. So unless they increase the drop rate of like the item you need for the Hand of Rag, I don't know that it's really gonna matter much at all because nobody's gonna get it. But it's now gonna give attack power in Cat and Bear. The chance on hit stuff is gonna work in Cat and Bear. It looks like, you know, it can be used by anybody. I mean, I would even use this on my melee hunter if things are still working as good as they were. Like, this thing would smack people in PvP. Yeah. Like, I would use it in PvE, but I'd use it in PvP. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, I would still want Hand of Rag for arms PvP. Like, this is just like, it's just too good. I mean, the top end damage, I think they made it from wasn't it 3.7 speed?
Yeah, it's slower now, so warriors are gonna want it too.
Yeah, they put it to a 3.8, so it has a little higher
Mace
top end damage.
PvP, baby.
Yeah, that thing would absolutely rip. And then of course, you know, your rep pallies. I don't know, would shamans want this? Like, is two-handed shaman like a thing? I have no, I don't.
It's not at the moment.
On current status, no. They only have one rune. They got no support. I hope they get the runes. But like, I think the most overpowered,
because it's slow.
Oh yeah, they do. Like,
I was faster. Yeah. I thought they wanted faster weapons.
Not now, because they got the Crusader strike, and that scales with weapon damage. So like, it kind of slower weapon is kind of the same for them now. But like, I was talking to Telo, and he's so upset because even he recognized they made it too good for the bear. The bear scales like insane with this thing. Like, it sucks for paladins. Like, how come we cannot get a new weapon so we don't compete with the paladins on this thing? Like, 380 attack power or 360, I don't remember. The best weapon in Sunken Temple is 120. Okay, it tripled the stats.
Yeah.
Well, and Warlocks,
and now we scale with weapon damage.
Warlocks can use swords, right? Are they going to be able to get Thunder Fury now? That'll be weird.
I feel like that is, yeah, people are speculating that. Just from them saying they want to make these legendaries, like, you know, more versatile for other classes, I could see them giving something like that. Because I do know Warlock tanks, like, at least if you're trying to parse, you are like melee weaving as well. So maybe they'll do something.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be
a guy in Northdale, like 8 years ago, he stole my mage blade because he was a pro paladin and I was a mage, and I'm still mad. I'm still looking for that guy. It's been 8 years.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. Maybe there could be other legendaries they added.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is there going to be more legendaries?
Or are they just going to change the ones that are in the game, you know, to be opened up to more classes? It seems like with the Hand of Rag change that is the route they're taking, but.
Well, and do you want to do all this work? Like, are they going to scale down the mats needed for these types of things? Are they going to, like, are they going to scale as we move through, or are they just going to be used for one or two tiers of rating, or are we going to switch over to something else? I don't know, man. Like, that much work, you know. Thunder Fury keeps its worth all the way through, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of like something going on within our guild. Is like, we're all like joking around with our main tank. He's already pretty much farmed all the mats for Thunder Fury, and we're like, dude, they're gonna chop it into like a quarter of the mats that you're gonna need.
I mean, then he'll make some dough. He'll make some money then. Yeah. And he won't have to worry about consumes. So it's not bad to be prepared. Like, part of me wants to go main tank now that Rogue seems kind of okay for tanking, because it'd be cool to get that legendary. But I don't know. It's a lot of
It has a
pressure.
threat modifier. There's no way, like, if the Rogue tank is meta, they are gonna get it. I mean, honestly, I think there is something to be said about like the whole project weapon, where you like something is so expensive that you need to get the whole guild involved and help it out. Like, I know this is cringe, but like when Asmongold did a whole event on stream to get like McConnell his Sulfuras, and like it was like a bunch of people like going out there and farming stuff for him, and they got his Sulfuras on tier 1, and like he was screaming, you know. I want that kind of experience. I want some items to feel that way, that we gotta help out somebody together because it's so good.
Yeah. It just feels weird on a seasonal server that's going to be going faster than we're used to. I don't know. But then do we want to see everybody with it like we did in Wrath? Everybody, you know, if you didn't have it, you were a weirdo. Like if you were a holy paladin without Valinir, you were a weird kid. Even turned to by the end, if you were a disciplined priest without it, you were a weird kid.
Yeah.
So, and then everybody was able to get their sword as warriors. And then they replaced it at 82 in Cataclysm.
Yep.
So I don't know, but if everybody's, I don't know. I don't know what my opinion is on this. I'm kind of with Sand, where I liked the fact that it was such a big thing, and you saw it and you're like, okay, that's a legit guild because their main tank has that, you know, like,
yeah.
But then like that main tank leaving and you're like, ugh.
Yep.
I like that dynamic though, you know, like some bit of drama in that sense of like, oh, who do we give it to? I think that's cool. I don't like the whole competing for loot with other classes though. Like they turned a Red Paladin weapon and an Enhancement Shaman weapon into a everybody weapon. That's gonna get people mad because there's only so many Sulfuras bindings.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I'm going to have to wait on my opinion for that. So I don't know. That's pretty much everything I had. Is there anything you guys want to talk about that you know, we didn't talk about?
Oh yeah, now that I can get the reach, I want to report, guys. There has been a theft. I am looking for 65.24 of my damage. Okay, if you can find 65% of my damage, I don't know where I left it. It was taken about a week ago. I've been looking everywhere around the town. I'm going to put it on milk cartons so you can help me find it, guys. So if you find the 65% of my damage, please give me a call. I miss him. He must be terrified looking for me. That poor little 65% of my damage. Like I can only hope he's in good hands.
Yeah.
It's just stored in a random rabbit somewhere.
He got kidnapped, Bob. It's not funny. He's terrified.
They put it
in the lights of angels.
In the arms of the angel. Oh yeah. What about you, Hammer? Anything else you want to like kind of hit on? There's a few things I think I missed that I haven't. I didn't have the baseline changes in there because a lot of things were changed to baseline skills.
Yeah, I mean, not really. We covered a good amount of stuff. I'm just kind of curious to see now that we know that we have, you know, a few weeks of PTR as stated by Agrand. Is this going to be something where like every week we're going to be seeing changes, or is it going to be silent now for like 2 weeks and then we're going to get some news or some changes, or like, I have a feeling that they're probably cooking up like one of those big, like full phase previews like they did, I think with phase, I think it was phase 3. So I'm kind of just waiting to see that. And I feel like that's going to have a lot of answers to a lot of questions that some of us have.
Yeah, I'd love to be in on one of those interviews. Hint, wink, wink, please.
Yeah.
I've gotten them before. Let me back in. Put me in, coach. Yeah. So I'm worried. I'm a little worried about the hype, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know that it's all the people that went to Cataclysm. I just don't know. And I'm not confident that they're all the ones that left SoD. I think a lot of them are, but I think a lot of SoD just left and aren't playing WoW right now. So
yeah, I think the same thing.
I mean,
so
from my
hoping to get
experience in
them
my
back.
Cataclysm guild, like a lot of people are fully progressed or done with progression or don't want to play. A lot of people quit already. So I think there is a bunch of Cataclysm people that are ready to come back to SoD at this point. But personally, unless we get like weekly changes, like constant new stuff that they show they're iterating on the PTR, this thing is DOA. I am very worried if tomorrow the patch comes out, like the maintenance, and we don't get like something for the PTR, anything to keep people talking. You know, that would be very concerning for me if we don't get changes constantly.
Yeah. And we need the creators to be coming out and talking about them. And we need maybe PTR events. Be cool if like Showback and some people, Zaru, like held like a PvP tournament on the PTR. Like that'd be kind of cool. Like Bobcat could be in there. Stuff like that would bring back hype to it.
Yeah, we need hype generators. That's really.
Yeah, I'm stoked for it. Like I'm stoked for it.
Yeah.
I'm
Desperately.
I'm like, oh shit! Now I need to get the stuff done. I've been procrastinating on some of my, professions. I've been procrastinating on getting a few different things done. Some reps, fishing skill. I've been procrastinating on that. I've been procrastinating on a lot of stuff that I might just jump into now. But unfortunately, I would be out of town a whole bunch leading up. But you guys, so we think it's going to be a few weeks. I don't think they're going to drop it 4th of July week. I think it's going to be the 11th of July. What do you guys think when we get actual phase 4?
Yeah, that sounds about pretty accurate. And like I said, I'm going to be out of town from the 7th to the 11th. So yeah, I'm really hoping for the 11th. I'm hoping they don't switch it up and do it on like, the 7th or something, or whatever it was, the 12th. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I gotta pay somebody $5 if it's the 11th. So Agron, if you can move it one day, one way or the other, I need $5.
Who'd you bet?
A friend of mine, he's not a streamer.
Oh man.
But I gotta owe him $5, Bob. That's a lot of money here. That's like a house.
I honestly think the 11th is probably spot on, right? That gives us 3 or 4 full weeks of PTR with the holiday, before that. Like that seems pretty accurate.
Gives Kata plenty of time to breathe.
Yeah, but then it's a little over, like it's like a little over 1 month from when War Within drops. But I don't really know. I mean, I know there's some crossover with the player base, but myself personally, I don't really play retail, so.
Yeah, it's very possible they do drop it on the 4th of July week. I mean, the Thursday before the 11th, which would bug me. I think it's the 4th of July, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That would be on the 4th of July.
Yeah, so I hope not. I really hope not, because that would be very unhype, because there's a lot of people that are just going to have to do something for 4th of July.
Yeah.
And that would not be hype. But yeah, the War Within scares me a little bit, but I don't know that the player
and they have
base.
pre-patch, right? Like, isn't there like a pre-patch that's probably like 3 or 4 weeks before the expansion launches? So that's got to be in the end of July, right? So you're going to lose. I mean, I know there was a lot of people who came from retail to play SoD. So
there was, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they're probably going to choose retail at this point, those retail players. So that's kind of.
There's a lot of retail players in Kata too, though. Like like mages interrupt in Kata. It's crazy weird. Like I've never seen that as a classic Andy. Like you have to like.
Can I get your mages?
Like you have to like threaten them with kicking them out of the raid, and they might still not interrupt. Like, it's just not a thing.
Yeah.
Like they wiped for hours on the last boss in Nomergan just to find out that they could have beat it hours prior if one of the 6 mages in the group would have interrupted.
Yep.
So, yeah, classic Andys don't interrupt. Our classic mages don't interrupt. Just us rogues, baby. Just us rogues.
I think like in season of Discovery, people want to get the parts. That's all they care about. But in Cataclysm, like it takes so much fucking effort to just kill anything that people are happy enough just killing the boss.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Heroics are a trip, man. They are a trip.
Oh, yeah, I'm not doing that shit. Miss me with that.
No, I'm just talking heroic dungeons are a trip in them cat. I like doing them with pugs and stuff. It's funny.
Oh, it's not that bad if you're a tank because they cannot kick you. It's gonna take them 30 minutes to find a new one.
Yeah, so we don't see. I think a lot of people are coming back, but we got to get the word out to them too. If they, a lot of people, the people that listen to stuff like this podcast, or even watch content like Scotty J and Sarth, like this is a minority part of the population. Like, there's lots of players that don't consume any content whatsoever. And, they might not even hear about what's going on without word of mouth or anything else. So, yeah, I'm just hoping we get something, and interviews would be a really good thing to get some hype going. Like, let's get a TV spot. Can we bring back? I mean, is Mr. T or Chuck Norris still? We can bring back Captain Kirk, Captain James Tiberius Kirk. We can bring him back. William Shatner. I just saw him like year before last at Planet Comic-Con. The guy is still quick as a whip. Works the crowd like you wouldn't believe. Like gets so many laughs. I think a little TV spot. Let's just do a TV spot. Not for War Within, because I know that's what you're going to do, but for classic World of Warcraft. And all the dads sitting there will be like, whoa, I used to play that back in the day. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah. They know where the return on investment is. We're not getting a TV spot. It's like we've seen on the first round of interviews, and the mess it was already too much of a resource to send people that actually designed the game to the interviews in some of them.
I guarantee you we would have a huge influx of players if they did a TV spot for classic World of Warcraft. People would be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like there's tons of dads that have no idea classic is even going on. Like I told a friend I used to play with that I don't talk to a ton. I told him I've been playing classic for years. He was like, dude, I didn't even know about that. I would have checked that out. It was like, well, but now I don't know about this Season of Discovery. And I was like, dude, no, you seriously got to try this. He's like, oh, no, man. But, I mean, just imagine if they'd put a TV spot for 2019 Classic. Like, it would have been crazy.
It was such a hit, and they invested $0 on promoting it because they thought it was going to fail.
Yep, they thought it was going to be.
Like, imagine if they invested.
Yeah, it could have been the biggest release of all time. I think it was the biggest Twitch watching of all time, like consecutive viewers.
I don't know, like Asmongold hit like 500,000 viewers that time, which at the time was like unheard of. That was insane.
And I think as a whole, it was hitting well over 1 million consecutive.
Yeah, it was
well over.
So that's nuts.
The biggest Spanish streamer at the time, El Rubius, he was also hitting like 500K. So like Asmongold and the Spanish guy together were already like over 1 million. Then just those two. It was absolute bonkers.
It is crazy. All right,
and like imagine if they put it on TV, bro. All white people love their television.
I think everybody loves television.
I haven't seen a TV in a decade, bro. I don't even know what's happening to them anymore.
I love my TV, so I can't argue with you.
Same.
I don't like your racial profiling, though. Oh man! All right, just like you're saying, I can't jump or something. All right. Well, I think that rounds us out. I mean, unless you guys have something else that you want to get on, yeah, I think we're good. Write into us. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Give us a call. Like like call us and leave a voicemail at 816-866-1066 or speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You follow the Mashless Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us an email, it's wcrpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to join our Discord, it's warcraftreloaded.com/Discord, or you can just go to warcraftreloaded.com and just click the Discord button. And then all of our links are there too, Patreon, everything. You get the show a little bit early and uncut and commercial free if you're a Patreon. How can you help us? You can leave reviews. You can leave stars on Spotify. You can leave comments or like the video, hit the bell on YouTube. All of those things help. Just the biggest thing is tell your guildies about it. Tell your friends. Tell Reddit, because I gave up on telling Reddit. So you guys need to tell Reddit for me. And yeah, that's about everything. Where can we find you, San Medina?
YouTube at San Medina, or I wish I could get one of those custom links on Discord, but I don't. Okay, so just go to my YouTube at San Medina and go in SANMEDINA. Spelling in English is hard, okay? And just join my Discord. That's where all the cool stuff is. You need Wicoras, you need macros, you need all that cool stuff that all the cool people do to pretend they are good at the game. I got you covered, and it's free. I don't got Twitter. I wish I got, but I'm scared of Twitter.
Okay, and Hammer, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Hammer Dance Gaming, and then over on Twitch, I stream, pretty much every weeknight at around 8 p.m. Eastern time at twitch.tv/HammerDance. Okay.
And you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can also find me on Twitch and this show live at BlazinBob _. So hope to see you guys next week. And for now, we're out. Bye.
Take care.
Let's kick some ass.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.